Fresh off his feud with a Brazilian Supreme Court judge, Elon Musk is taking his next fight to the very top of the government down under. The owner of X and self-proclaimed champion of free speech has refused to comply with an Australian order to remove videos of violence from his platform, a move that has solicited the ire of the Prime Minister. So let's see. Just days after a knife man killed 6 at a mall earlier this month, Australia was rocked by another stabbing incident in the suburbs of Sydney when, on April 15th, a bishop and a priest were stabbed during a live-streamed sermon. Graphic footage of the attack, which the government deemed terrorism, quickly circulated online and sparked riots near the church scene of the crime. So the government doesn't want you to see that footage. Only ever goes one way, doesn't it, for some reason? But the stuff they don't want you to see, it only ever seems to go one way, does it? Especially when you've got a Labour government, I guess, which left-wing government. But down from the headline and down the article a little bit, we find this. In an April 19 statement, the platform, that would be X, Global Government Affairs team, said that it believed the e-Safety Commissioner's order, quote, was not within the scope of Australian law, and that certain posts ordered to be removed did not violate X's rules on violent speech. So it's actually not just that one thing. There's a whole bunch of stuff they want taken down. But anyway, the statement said that X complied with the order within Australia, so within Australia, pending a legal challenge, but that it did not remove the post in question globally and was now being ordered to do so under threat of a daily fine of $500,000 US. So X is saying they complied with the order within Australia. So take the posts that were requested to be taken down within Australia while they're challenging that. But that's not the end of it. Quote, while X respects the right of a country to enforce its laws within its jurisdiction, the e-Safety Commissioner does not have the authority to dictate what content X's users can see globally. We will robustly challenge this unlawful and dangerous approach in court. Global takedown orders go against the very principles of a free and open internet and threaten free speech everywhere. So the Australian government wants X to censor globally content that they want taken down in Australia. So they want the right to just ban anything globally if they think that it's harmful. They always say it's harmful, right? All the times they want to take away your freedoms and be authoritarian, it's always because there's something harmful and they're trying to help you. So the Australian government wants to be able to dictate to X what it can show in other countries outside of Australia. That seems crazy to me. In fact, it is crazy. You don't really see that in any of the headlines, right? For some reason, they don't want to show that. So it's usually, if it's in it at all, where they mention that, yeah, they took it down in Australia, they just refuse to take it down globally. That's either not in the article or further down, where they know a lot of people won't actually read it. So let's keep going here. So here's Sky News Australia. Let's hear what they have to say about this.
Tonight, it's heavy on Lambie content. Yes, Jackie Lambie wants to throw the world's richest man in jail and throw away the key.
He has absolutely no social conscience. Someone like that should be in jail and the key be thrown away. That bloke should not have a right to be out there on his own ideology platform.
So essentially what she's saying is that nobody should have a right to publish something that she doesn't like. That's what she's saying. Welcome to the modern left. This isn't, your old, art teacher from the 80s anymore. Your old burnout art teacher from the 80s. This is the new left. It's the new left, and they mean business. And they mean to control you and your life and everything about it. Let's go in a little further.
Good Lord. Can you believe that woman is in the Australian Senate? And we have the nerve to mock the quality of American politicians. Let's bring in Daniel Wild now, Deputy Executive Director of the Institute of Public Affairs. Daniel, I'm rarely lost for words, but Senator Lambie, what do you make of her commentary there? Does Elon Musk belong in jail?
Of course he doesn't. And look, it's concerning at how many are quick to jump on the anti-Elon, anti-Twitter bandwagon.
Okay, the Australian E-Safety Commissioner, they have something called an E-Safety Commissioner there, who actually appears to be American. She sounds American, but she's being questioned about her insane authoritarianism. Let's see what they have to say here.
Can you give me examples of Australian accounts that X has allowed back on that your office objects to?
They reinstated 6,100 previously banned Australian accounts.
You're assuming the previous bans were in order. Have you explored those previous bans?
Well, so Twitter, as the company, had a whole range of policies, including a hateful conduct policy.
You've gone off their interpretation of their policy, even though we know they were biased. I'd like the witness to give me examples of Australian accounts that X had allowed back.
I didn't ask them specific questions.
No specific questions. Funny about that. And just also you should know, Julian Grant was recently off at the World Economic Forum in Davos talking about, we're not just going to do this in Australia, as in not take too much notice of what we're actually doing, but force companies into this reporting anyway. We're going to take it global.
Did you attend the World Economic Forum planning session in Davos last month?
I attended the World Economic Global Summit.
Well, they're just drawn to the World Economic Forum like moths to a flame, aren't they? They really are. World Economic Forum gets around.
At the World Economic Forum planning session in Davos, you said, quote, "We have started something called the Global Online Safety Regulator." Who is we? Did you receive ministerial permission to involve Australia in another globalist power sinkhole?
I'm an independent statutory authority. We know we're going to go much further when we work together with other like-minded independent statutory authorities around the globe.
So now we have the Global Online Safety Regulator, and next up, the Global Misinformation.
So, yeah, that's the way things that seem to be going, is everything global, right? For one thing, the guy asking the questions there, I like him. I think he should be the Prime Minister of Australia. But yeah, it seems to be, this is what we see, is that everything is moving towards global, like, it's not just economic, now it's governmental globalization, where you seem to be seeing, what we are seeing is that leaders going to places like Davos for the WEF, and leaving all with the same ideas. I mean, because it's the same thing in certainly the Anglosphere, we can definitely say that, right? So what, mass immigration, censorship, out of control spending, and just cultural Marxism. I mean, what feels certainly like a cultural revolution happening, everything being redefined, histories being burnt to the ground and denigrated. It's the same throughout the Anglosphere, isn't it? Our history is terrible, right? You have no rights. You shouldn't have rights. Rights are bad. Rights are a threat to democracy, apparently. Free speech has got to go. And these constant appeals to this kind of global authority. It doesn't feel like it's a coincidence that all the same things are happening at the same time and through all these countries. So it's not surprising to hear somebody like that talking about the WEF and global standards and all of this. In fact, it almost seems like we're expected to think it's just normal. Like it's normal for our own elected representatives to not represent us, but to represent something else, some global interest. Rogue Thought says these authoritarian leaders are scary, but we're shit. People voted for them. They did, and there are people that will continue. I mean, in Canada, I keep saying this over and over again. Trudeau, I don't think he's got any chance of winning the next election here in 2025. But there are people that will vote for him. There are people that will vote for him. If he said that, if we gave him another term, he would force all Canadians to live in holes in the ground to fight climate change, there's still 25% of the country that would vote for him. Maybe that's overstating it. Maybe 20%. There are people he could just come out and say, I will destroy you. I will make it my goal. I will spend every second of my day trying to destroy your lives economically in every single way. I will force every single person in Canada to get a sex change operation. There's still 20% of the population that will vote for him. Rogue Thought says, and global medical control as well with the WHO. Yeah, that seems like a real bad idea, doesn't it? After that whole, pandemic thing, That seems like a bad idea to give it into the hands of the WHO. I don't think they did very well in that. I don't think they gave us any reason to trust them whatsoever.
Far is the government willing to go and looking at new powers? How far is it willing to go to take on Elon Musk, who really has hit back on the social media platform again overnight?
We'll do what's necessary to take on this arrogant billionaire who thinks he's above the law.
So this is the left-wing Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese.
But also above common decency. What the E-Safety Commissioner is doing is doing her job to protect the interests of Australians. And the idea that someone would go to court for the right to put up violent content on a platform shows how out of touch Mr. Musk is. Social media needs to have social responsibility with it. Mr. Musk.
So just forget just about with it. He's talking about he wants to block it worldwide in every country. I think it might be in the public interest, by the way, to know what's happening in your country, to know the severity of what's happening. I don't think that's protecting people. I don't think hiding the truth from people is protecting them. I think that's protecting something else. I think that's protecting his interest. That's just the way I see it. Oh my God, listen to this Karen from Australia talking about the job of government is to stop misinformation and disinformation. This is going to be incredibly irritating.
It just beggars belief, really, doesn't it? That this guy, this egotistical billionaire, thinks that it's more important for him to be able to show whatever he wants on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it today. It's more important for him to have his way than to respect the victims of the crimes that are being shown on social media and to protect our Australian community from the harmful impact of showing this terrible stuff on social media. We are acting in Australia. We have quadrupled the budget for the E-Safety Commissioner. We tried to introduce a misinformation and disinformation bill last year. Sadly, the Liberals and Nationals didn't support it at the time. Peter Dutton and Susan...
Yeah, I've got a feeling that just anything that's inconvenient to their plans and policies, especially around something like, say, mass immigration, that's going to be harmful. Got a feeling they're quadrupling the funding for this as well to stop people from seeing reality. That must be comforting.